Hello, it's Flex Mummy and you're watching Build Series Sydney. Today I'm joined by a very special guest, ARIA award-winning artist Jessica Mauboy, to chat about her brand new upcoming album, HILDA. Please give it up for Jess.
Hi, hello.
I am so stoked that you're here. You have no idea.
Thank you, Sissy. It's so good to see you.
Are you well?
I am very, very well.
I feel it. I already know. Now, fourth studio album.
Mm-hmm.
I want to brag for you,
Yes.
but we won't just now.
Okay.
It's called HILDA. I was under the impression that it was that way because that's your middle name, but it's actually named after your maternal grandmother.
Correct, yeah.
Right.
So it goes a little deeper. And I think that was probably my biggest concern about bringing something out like that. I most feared because it was such in depth. I went deeper than I'd ever gone before. And have, I guess, collaborated my family and infused a lot of my family and their stories and their pain and their struggles into this record. So naming it after Nana Hilda, as well as my mother, and dedicating it to both of them was something that I spent the last 6 years struggling with myself, and dealing with those stories and how I would react if I didn't have a mother to grow up with. So my mother never got to know her mother. She was 10 when her mother passed away at the age of 37. And I'd kind of known that my mum would tell us stories. I mean, she grew us up with a lot of her stories growing up in Mount Isa in Queensland. And it was the first 2 periods of those years that it struck me that I wanted to go deep with this record. I had all these stories and never once was able to or had the opportunity to tell any of those stories because it wasn't the right time. And I was from 16 to 25. I mean, I was just on such a roll with such colour and pop music and collaborating with certain artists that there was no not the time for it until now. So I've been, sitting with these feelings and these stories and wondering, when, and it happened over the 3 years that I was able to just sit with them, sit with my family, reconnect, and respectfully be able to, tell those stories through some of the songs that I had written for the record.
What stories were you told about Nana Hilda that you connected so deeply with?
Yeah, I think just her personality. She was very fiery, very firm, very strong. Was a housewife. She didn't really have a job apart from being a housewife, cleaning up. That's a big job. That was her job, to maintain the house, to look after the children. And when she could, those Saturdays, she would apply that red lipstick. Uh-oh. She would put on her best outfit and she would get gone.
Okay, come on, Hilda.
Okay, bye, husband.
I'm out.
Yeah, I am out. So hearing stuff like that, it just really, I guess, kind of takes me back to, I see my mother, like I see my nana in my mother, Hearing a lot of those stories, I just kind of applied that onto my mother and how she's, been able to deal with becoming that mother, becoming that mother for me and my other siblings.
So it's like a story of evolution almost.
Yeah.
Like finding yourself through your history, finding yourself through
Absolutely.
your culture,
Yeah.
and then finding yourself through just being you as you are right now.
Yeah, definitely.
And so what are some of the stories and themes that come through the album? What can we hear out for?
I think body language, there's a lot of body language in a lot of the songs. I think lyrically and physically it really shines through. Yeah. There's a song called Jealous, which is so kind of in myself, which is exciting because I've never, I've kind of always written about going to the club or hanging out with friends or just, it's such a party time as a young woman becoming a grown woman and experiences. But, I really wanted to go deep with this record and, sharing stories about, watching my mother's pain and Little Things is an example of that. Visually, when I went into creating the music video, even that was quite difficult because I'd already applied the story vocally I needed to now think of how visually I was going to portray this song, and the only way that I could have done it was obviously working with the right team, working with the right person that understood me emotionally, and knowing the story that I could truthfully tell to him, and for him to then be able to track me in a one take, and you know.
Wait, so the video clip was recorded in one take?
In one take. So I filmed the music video 26 times, doing it one take every single time. And it's pretty crazy.
I'm trying to feel like, how does someone's day go when you're doing one take 26 times?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
By take 8, where you're like, okay, I think we've got it. Like, just put it together, mash it up.
The most amazing thing about this record and about the songs that I've written is that I've written every song on the album, and I've been there every second, every minute. And I think that's what sets all the other songs apart, is that I've actually told my truth through these songs, and that's why they've become so precious and special to me. And so I think visually, having gone into the extent of, you know, providing what I see and what I want to share, was going to be that next step. And so working with Ben J, the music director, I had, you know, we've had a connection, you know, through events, but we'd never actually worked together. And I promised him that one day he would make my music video one day.
Divine timing.
And it was the perfect timing. We got together, we found a venue. It was just in this beautiful theatre in St Kilda in Melbourne. And it was this kind of rustic, had a lot of character in it. So, you know, there was like these huge ropes hanging from the ceiling, just spectacular lighting, you know, just old rugged floorboards. And we applied this kind of black perspex on the ground.
Right.
And then we just had one of his DOPs, his camera guy, just kind of connect with me and dance with me, and we pretty much danced 26 times.
Well, that sounds great.
It was it was like your first time dancing to a waltzing for the first time, and we were able to dance 26 times together. It was quite magical.
You make everything sound so gorgeous and poetic, and I was like, sounds exhausting 26 times. You're like, but we danced, we connected. I was like, I want to dance and connect.
No, and I think too, on the deeper story, you know, watching my mother struggle as a mother, having not, you know, being taught by her own mother how to be a mother. That was like watching her, you know, as a young girl, watching her and sitting there in the kitchen, crying, bawling her eyes out, listening to country music, just so it could prep her up, it could help her for the rest of the day. And then instantly she'd grab the mop and she'd start mopping again. So this whole kind of transition of how to get through a struggle, it broke my heart. It really broke my heart, because there was nothing I could do. And so this song is dedicated to her, and to help with some freedom and to lift her spirit. And I remember watching it with her for the first time, and all my sisters, and it just their reaction was instantly. We just bawled our eyes out, because we saw that struggle and was in it with her, you know, for the long haul.
Absolutely.
And almost us as her children, becoming a mother, nurturing her as she's going through these things. So we all became a mother for her in a way. And I mean, it's just amazing to be able to, I think, eventually to bring that confidence and bravery and bring your story through music, especially for me, having known how healing and the powers of music can be, that I could really gift that back to my family.
How does it feel letting this album go and having it being consumed by the world? Because it's so personal. It's not just a few songs you put together in a studio. It's your life story. It's your ancestors' story.
Yes.
And now you have to sort of like let us consume it.
Yeah.
How does that feel, knowing that it's out of your hands in just a few short weeks?
I feel proud. I feel proud to have, and this is just one of the stories. I mean, there are thousands, millions out there that aren't told.
Yeah.
And the fact that, and that's what I was saying, it's such a gift. It's such a pure healer that could instantly change your mood, that could allow you to sit with your feelings and help you understand where you need to go next. So music for me, ever since I was a little girl, made me realize that how important music was going to be and what I wanted to do with it, all the time. Every time I stepped out onto the stage and, opened my mouth and I sung those lyrics and I sung that emotion, how is that going to affect? And I got to see firsthand, that change, that movement.
How does your family feel? Like when they first heard the album, was it after the tears had gone down their faces? What was the reception? Do they think that you did Hilda's story justice?
Yeah, I think for the first time, the reaction was much more quieter this time because, and like I said, it allowed them to sit with what my stories were saying about them, to them. It was a very different, from your Saturday nights to your pop a bottle to your inescapable to your burn to your running back. This was something that hit them very deeply. So it was very quiet. It was very kind of embracing. There was this release of. There was a release.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and a celebrated release that was silently being undone. Yeah.
And was your mother surprised to find that you had such a strong connection with her mother, even though you hadn't have met her yet?
My mother wasn't surprised at all because she always reminded us how she grew up, what it was like, that she then at 15 was married at a young age, had her first child. We were always kind of reminded and witnessing the pressure and the struggle and the pain and how that was all kind of now being mended somehow, whether it was through music, whether it was through talking about it. We were never kind of. It was always allowed to story tell, whether you cried it out, whether you're shouting it, or it was. That's how. Yeah, there was never a time where she didn't express those feelings and how she felt, which allowed us to be so expressive and allowed us to think beyond the possibilities of what we could do and achieve.
Which is so nice to have that kind of support,
Yeah.
It's so interesting though, because, I can imagine music has been such a consistent through line in your life from when you were little to now. But has your relationship to music stayed consistent, or has it changed as you've become older?
Yeah, I feel like as I've become older and different experiences have affected me in the way that I write my music.
Oh, yeah?
Even collaborating affected me in the way I now write my music. I mean, I was collaborating with different songwriters, with different musicians, producers, and they were all very different in the way that they their routine or before they got into the studio, like what did they do? It's like, and for me now I've kind of practiced my own. I've got all these stories, and now I've been able to practice my own routine. What do I do before I go into the studio? What do I do
What
before?
is your routine? I want to know. Paint me a picture. Let me be a fly on the wall. Jess 2.0.
Okay, my bathroom is the first place that I see when I wake up.
Come on now.
So
is there a bathtub?
It's a shower. The shower's running on my back, and I'm going.
Oh, back first.
So I'm just doing trills.
Something light.
You know what I mean?
Something light.
So the water's kind of protecting me, and I'm singing out because of the acoustics in the amazing bathrooms. I mean, if you got a tiled bathroom, then
you've got a studio.
You know what I mean? You have a studio. Because my voice kind of just echoes and bounces off the walls when and I learned that at a very age. Actually, I was probably 11 when I realized what pockets of the house did something to my voice.
Wow.
And I remember the bathroom, the bathroom and the toilet. Between the bathroom and the toilet.
That was like prime spot. How old were you at this time though?
11.
So 11,
Singing
just found out
Mariah.
you could sing, and you're like, bathroom, hallway, that is my stage.
Oh, but it killed my mum. It really killed my mum because right around the corner, the hallway, so there's this long hallway, but then then there's the stairs down to the entrance of the house, and it just it echoed. It just went forever, and my mum would be cooking in the kitchen, and I'm there sitting cross-legged in the middle of the toilet at the shower singing, I have nothing if I don't have you. Oh, you.
Yes!
But you know what I mean?
That is a snap.
And
On repeat, 26 times.
And just learning, like trying to mimic Whitney. My mother, I would drive my mother crazy. She'd be like, Jessica, sing a different song.
You're
like
Mum, I'm
crazy.
on set at the moment. Like, could you wait? We're recording.
I'm in my studio. But it was such an amazing time to grow up. I mean, it was like, we didn't have phones. We didn't have any kind of technology apart from my grandfather's one of those recorders. You know, I had to hit play and record at the same time. The yellow little button was the record, but you had to press play. It was a tape recorder.
The way it's just gone over my head, I was like,
Sorry, I lost you.
Okay.
I lost you.
A tape recorder, yeah.
Yeah, so
I've seen those.
I borrowed this tape recorder from my oppa on my dad's side, my dad's father, and he would always record the ABC News, you know, like all the stuff that was happening or songs. He would record it from the radio, and I borrowed it and bought tapes with my pocket money from pamphlet runs, and amazing because I learned how to record my voice and understand what my voice was doing. And this is how I knew the power of music and how I wanted to kind of manipulate, you know, my voice and the way I sounded into this recorder. And I would buy tapes and I'd just record myself and just to understand what I could do and how I sounded.
It helps that you sound like an angel because the rest of us were like, not quite.
I wasn't quite good then, but the practice kind of made it, you know, I got better at it. And it was just such a fun time because there was so, you know, not having phones or not having, you know, the kind of advanced technology that we had. We just kind of had to make it up on the spot, make sounds. We were running around, you know, barefoot through the dirt, through the bush, you know, and our activities were, you know, Mum and Dad would take us to the beach, we'd watch the sunset and, you know, would collect shells. Like that's pretty much was our, you know, upbringing, or make sounds or, you know, drive Mum up the wall by singing the same song, you know. It was, luckily that I had older sisters as well because we had a variety of different types of music. My elder sister, you know, she loved, you know, Notorious B.I.G., you know, Tupac. She was Bone Thugs and Harmony. I mean, change the world, let's change the world. You know, it was like Salt and Pepper.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everything. And then you had my second older sister who was Mariah Carey, Spice Girls.
Oh,
and then she
yes,
loved,
Mariah.
you know, like LaBouche, I love to love you, and Real McCoy, to like my third older sister who loved Backstreet Boys, to Hansons, and then my mother's, you know, listening to country music, Patsy Cline, Alan Jackson, Charlie Pride. And then my father's music was, you know, Indonesian hymns or Indonesian music songs.
And
so
what about you?
Me, I got to have all of those. I got to have all of those and understand what I wanted and what genres what I liked, what I didn't like. So I just, you know, was just living through, you know, respectfully my elders and, you know, my mum, my dad and all my sisters. I just had the best of everything, to be honest, handed down to me.
It's such a nice way to look at it.
Yeah.
It's so interesting me thinking of, you know, an 11, 12, 13-year-old Jess just like annoying mom singing beautifully, and then, you know, you grow up, get on TV, kill it, we love you. And as an adult, you've lived 1,000 lives, and it also feels as though with each and every album, you're kind of chronicling who you were at that time,
Yes.
what you loved, and how you want to express yourself.
Yes.
How would you say, who would you say the Jess now is? The Jess that's going to release HILDA. Who is she? Introduce us.
Who is she? Oh, she's so many things. And the way I'd like to put it is, you know, she's courageous now. I mean, the experiences I've had, I keep saying she, but
she, same.
I'm talking about myself. She's just many things. I mean, she loves to love. She loves to be kind. She loves to help. She's so passionate about music, and she's forever, you know, no matter how much struggle she has, you know, and her relationship with music is, she's always finding a way. And I think we all do, you know, no matter what, we struggle to find the best, to find the best work ethic that you can be, you know, just never stopping. I'm just always discovering, and I'm very fascinated with anything, with life. So I think that's what drives me the most, you know, which then drives the music. I think life out of music is the driver.
Do you think your younger self would recognize you? Had little Jess seen big Jess walking down the street, would you be like, that's me?
No, she wouldn't care. To be honest.
She's like, I'm in the studio.
She's so not. She's just in her own self.
Well, what was little Jess like, though?
Little Jess was like, she was such a rat. Like, she was such a rat. And having grown up with like 5 girls in the house,
right,
like pulling hair, like, I'm wearing that, you know. Stop wearing my clothes. You know, there was like a lot of cat fights. But so much love. Like, you know, you always had my mum kind of come in the room and be like, stop fighting. I wasn't like this with my sisters, you know. We were never like this to each other. But yeah, we were always kind of teaching each other, pushing each other's boundaries to the point where we'd be like, you know, like, don't leave the room. Like, I love you, sis. Like,
aww,
I want you to be here. Let's play dress ups now. Aww. You know, so crazy.
A sweetheart, not a rat.
Yeah. Bush kind of kid, like just running barefoot you know, that would be the last thing she'd think about, wearing shoes. You know what I mean? Like, you know, just grew up with freedom, like just sense of freedom was, you know, playing in the dirt. You know, I mean, we didn't grow up with, you know, cooking at home. We never went out to eat. You know, Mum always had something made on the table. Dad would, you know, be climbing up the coconut tree and and cutting the coconuts down for us to all share in the backyard after we'd picked up all the debris at the back, you know, from cutting down all the trees. It'd all kind of pitch in to put it on the Toyota Ute and take it to the dump. That was it.
What was it like growing up with such like 2 distinct cultures, you know, like having like the Indonesian influence,
very rich,
the Indigenous influence,
like super rich, because we grew up not only learning survival skills, like going out bush and going walkabouts, learning language, and both languages, like saya bisa bahasa Indonesia sedikit saja, which I just said I can speak Indonesian just a little bit.
I caught it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But like I got to learn Yolngu Mata, got to learn bahasa, like so rich that I had everything already.
That's so special.
You know, so I couldn't complain. There was nothing to complain about. There was no kind of needing more in a way. Like, we were just taught whatever's there, you take. Whatever we have, you have.
Which is so good, though, because it's so easy to fall into the trap of wanting more.
Yeah.
Whatever more might be. I want 6 more of that more.
So easy. And sometimes I do that with music. Like, I want more from you, music.
Wow. What is more in terms of music, though? Like, how much more can you give?
Exactly.
You've given
I don't know.
it all.
But I think, we can do that. We can fall into the trap. And I think, my family have always kind of pulled me out of those traps of like, hey, I'm here. You know, like, when are you coming home? You know, like, when do we get to see you again?
Uh-oh.
And I'm re-energized, you know. So every time I go home, I know that, like, I'm so full again. You know, my spirit is ready to go. My soul is ready to go. And, you know, I'm ready to do the music again.
You seem so grounded and so humble and aware of, you know, who you are and where you've come from. What keeps you that way? What keeps you humble and tied to true Jess? It feels like it'd be so easy to just like run away with the fairies and get sucked into the glitz and the glam and, I don't know, the cycle of celebrity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've never been too sucked into it, and I think being so connected with home and so grounded with my hometown, you know, not thinking about materialistic things like, you know, like, what would my mum and dad think? That's automatically what I think. I'm like, you know, what would mum and dad say, like, if I wore that?
What would they say?
What are you wearing, Jessie? That's my dad.
That sentence enough says all that it needs to.
What are you wearing, and who is that fella in the background?
Who is he?
No, I remember a really quick story. I had just finished writing a song with Bangladesh called, amazing producer, called Get 'Em Girls. And he later that day suggested, look, I have a friend who might sit really well on this record, a really great friend of mine. I'll give him a call later today and hopefully he'll be ready for the studio tomorrow. So I walk in the next day fresh. I'm thinking, who is this person? Who is it? I'm excited.
Low-key.
The next minute Snoop Dogg walks in and I'm like, is that who I think it is? Is that really him?
Could you imagine just like Snoop Dogg just in ears?
It was really
ready
bizarre.
to work with you.
It was really bizarre because my sisters listened to his music. Like, I didn't quite understand his music yet. I only got bits and pieces here and there and knew how much my sisters loved him. So in that flash moment, I was just like, oh my gosh, I wish Sandra was here, my eldest sister, just to kind of see her reaction and what she would. And for me, I think because of the age gap, it was like, oh, like, cool, I know you're like royalty, like you're a legend. And so he gets up, he's like, oh, cool, I love the song. You know, Bangladesh, you know, let me hear it. And there he was straight into the studio. It took him 10 minutes to lay his part down. Like, he was just, you know.
Spill the tea, though. Like what was he like? What did he talk about? Did he have any, like, weird hobbies?
All he kept saying was he loved Australia and that, unfortunately, he wasn't able to come back into the country again. You know.
He thought you could pull some strings?
I cannot help you there. I did not know nobody. But it was amazing because he was really genuine. You know, he was talking about his family, his children, and, you know, that he's a father, and, you know, but yeah, you know, he loved the song, so he really loved the song for him to be there. You know, he's like, I don't really do this, he was saying, but, you know, I love Aboriginal people, and, you know, I got to meet some elders when I was in Australia, and I was like, oh, that's awesome, they would have loved you. But anyway, he's like, yeah, it was just incredible because he took 10 minutes. It was like straight up 10 minutes. He was like, you can tell him that you got it from the boss dog. I got the hookup. Look up and let the rain fall. Impressing you, dressing you, never stressing you. Instant messenger. Go and get it, Jessica. And I was like, oh my God.
He
like,
said Jessica.
But like, it was so crazy because, like, this legendary walking amazing rapper, he'd lived his time, you know, in his generation, you know, has lived, like, he has properly lived to, you know, be able to continuously tell his story and other people's stories. And I just thought, yeah, like, I'm so grateful right now. And you know, like, didn't cost me anything to have him on, a part of the record apart from the music video. So the next thing was the music video. Now, quick story too, not quick story, but
we love your stories.
that's when, when we had finished filming the music video, I took it home with me back to Darwin, and I got to preview it with my family. And that's when my dad's like, "What are you wearing? And who is that guy in the background?"
Oh, I see. We've come full circle.
But crazy. My parents have always kind of been very protective in a way that aren't stage parents. So they allowed me to do what I wanted, encouraged me because they knew I had this gift and was able to sing and have people react and turn around and be focused and embrace the moment. I started out singing karaoke at a bar when I was 11 years old.
So we all have a shot, is what you're saying. Just keep singing karaoke.
It's got to start somewhere, is what I'm saying. Somewhere.
Oh my gosh. And so will you have any more star-studded features in future? Are you collaborating with anybody?
I would love to. I wrote this record locally, which was so nice. I didn't have to go anywhere. I didn't have to fly anywhere or, meet with some big star producer or songwriter. It wasn't really about that. It was me being able to tell my truth for me and my family, and I guess to be able to share that light, because everyone's seen me as the smiley Jess and colourful. You're always seeing me, but have you ever seen when I'm not smiling, or when I am hurt, or whether it's learning my family struggles and then being affected by that, and then have to go on stage and then do a performance. So this was really about gathering all those things that people missed out on, and bringing this deep soul record together and sharing all the things that we did miss. So when we were witnessing Pop a Bottle, well, what was happening under that was little things.
Wow.
So things like that are just and timing again. 16 to 25 was, the Been Waiting record, then went to the Get 'Em Girls record, and then went straight on to the Beautiful record. And there was just so much colourful and going to the club and, hanging out with my friends. And that was that time. But now I've so grown through it all that I'm so happy and feel brave to be able to share this side.
Going through your seasons, that was a season, and this is a season, and the
Season.
next season we could
Seasonal.
reflect on it. We can reflect and be like, we remember that season.
Yes.
It'll be so nice to get context for who you are outside of the Jess that we see at face value.
Yeah.
Because I think also there's something to say about timing. We're always not allowed to see our favourite artists be themselves until we earn the privilege.
Absolutely.
And this feels like a privilege we're earning.
Oh, wow. That's too major.
Oh, I said it. I'll
major
say
word.
it twice. I'll say it twice.
No, thank you. It's been such growth. I mean, even through my team, my creative team, through, working with, the label that I work with, just understanding what's going to work and be the most truthful, so that I can get up there and share this story and connect with so many that are on that journey and that are, have their own struggles. Again, music dates back to being able to heal someone and give them a voice, to sit with their feelings and be like, oh, whether it's who let the dogs out,
Classic.
who, you know what I mean?
Do we know yet?
That song, the thong, you know what I mean? I don't know, I don't know, you know what I mean? Music has the power to have you release, and the fact that I get to share my story through that and work with people that I wanted to work with to bring that to life, it was just magic to me. It felt, this is my dream. This has been my dream record to create and make and be so purely honest, because, it was time. It was time to kind of do something like that.
So soon in your lifetime to do this, though. Objectively.
Thank you.
Anyway, if it was up to me, we'd only answer my own questions.
Okay.
But the audience has a few amazing questions for you, and it's only fair that I share the stage with them. We've got a question from Jill, and they say you've worked with some big names in the biz. Who has made you starstruck? Ooh, I want to know. T. Who made you blush?
Oh, okay. Oh, so many. You know who was quite amazing to meet and shake hands with was Obama. Like, that was really striking. Like, this guy, his presence, I mean, his charisma, like he was just so eye contact, you know. And, you know, when we talk to someone, we expect to be in the same room as each other. This fella gave me the time. Like, I was like, okay, Obama.
I see what you're doing there.
Okay,
Making me
Obama,
feel
thank
special
you.
and
Yeah.
seen.
And it was amazing because then I was asked to then perform 5 songs to the troops and to Obama. But it happened so quickly, like the performance happened so quickly that I felt, you know, shaking in his hand was more time than singing. Like, it was just, the moment was just like, wow, this fella is like, he holds his country, like, you know, the things that he's done, the good and not so, you know, not so good. But like, yeah, there was just something really powerful about him that I was like, wow, I can't
What
believe
did
this
you
is
sing
happening.
for him?
So I sang, and at the time I had just released my Been Waiting record. So it was everything from, I did a cover of Time After Time. I did a cover of that. I also did, I did Running Back because I know he likes his soul music and like his urban stuff. So I also did Been Waiting, and then another song was Up Down. Yeah.
Amazing.
Very cool, very cool.
You set the bar really high. So we'll never ask that question
Oh,
again.
okay. Never, no one.
This question is from Hannah, and they ask, will you ever
Hi, Hannah.
infuse your Indigenous culture into your music?
I would definitely. I've actually been, through the 6 years, I spent a lot of time back in the NT and just got to do a lot of smoking ceremonies and just kind of just, you know, washing this kind of renewing like spirit and soul, like with the women's business. So it was really amazing to do that because it also cleared my mind on where I was, the focus of what I was going to do. And I think that's how I was able to create this record as well and be so open and not afraid, you know, to be me. you
Yeah.
know, and then an extension of my family to tell only part of that story respectfully. So yeah, there was. I'd love to. I think in the future there are a few collaborations that I'll be working with. I caught up with Katie Baker recently, and James, her partner, and we were talking about doing some stuff. So we're looking forward to. Who works with Skinny Fish as well in the NT. That. So, and Yothi Indy. So I'm looking forward to doing some stuff.
Yeah, awesome. Charlie says, I read that Mariah Carey was a strong influence for you. What was your favourite Mariah song to sing? And can you give us a taste?
Mariah.
There's so much. I was just listening to Obsessed and I was like, it resonates. It really does.
Right. I think for me it would have to be... anytime you need a friend, I will be here. Never be alone again. So don't you fear. Even if you're miles away, I'm by your side. So don't you ever be lonely. Love will make it alright. Hey.
If I had your voice, I'd be in there with the lower octave. Oh my gosh.
I love that song.
Whew.
That was one of the songs I would be, singing.
11-year-old Jess. Oh, okay. That'd be her encore track. That's when you've walked out to the bedroom. You're like, I'm back, Mum.
Walk down
one
the
more
hallway.
song.
Acoustics. Boom.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, 2 more questions. Your debut in a feature was the Sapphires, obviously. Yes. What was that experience like? Acting?
It was really scary actually because it was my second role that I'd played. My very first role was playing Rosie in Brand New Day as an Indigenous film musical with lots of songs and lots of colour. Beautiful story. But the Sapphires, I guess for me, knowing that it stemmed from, based on a true story about these Indigenous women who were sisters who formed a girl band and randomly, went on the other side of the globe and sung in war, in the Vietnam War. That to me, I think, scared me a lot because I knew I didn't want to get the character wrong, and I wanted to portray the character in exactly the way that, that auntie was in that time. So we had them on set most of the time, and it was such a privilege. It was an honor to have them and kind of dictate us. So they'd come on and they'd say, act a bit more scared, because I was afraid in this moment. That's one of the aunties would say. So we really had a lot of help, but also there was pressure, because I'm like, oh my gosh, am I playing Julie right? And
Julie's there to tell you, sis, no.
Exactly. Julie's like, girlfriend, that's not what I did. I did not cry here. And also using the language and the physicality at the time too. So it was really getting into under their skin and knowing, there were a lot of dinners that we had, a lot of get-togethers that we had, and it was really, I guess, that time, a learning time, where I would sit there and observe them throughout dinner, and I'd just be like, okay, yep, that's how she
absorbing.
That's how she expresses when she drinks her water or her tea.
Wow.
How weird would have that been? Like, weird. But method acting training, you want to be believable and you want to tell the story right. So that was the hardest job for me, doing that particular film, and working with people who were so had strong views, and it was there to create a wonderful story for everyone to enjoy. The music was insane too. I was singing. I'd never sung like that before. I'd sing church music. In church, but everything from "you got to know on a pony," like I never kind of wailed my voice like that before. So even doing the soundtrack was with that type of music, which is like ow, and then all that kind of rasp, curling the vocals. Like I was being taught as well, teaching myself and trying to mimic the style of that music to be able to cover them again. Yeah.
I love that. On the topic of singing, I know that I've asked you more than once to share your beautiful voice with me, but I'm going to do it one more time.
Yes.
One more time.
Come on.
If you could just do a few bars from Little Things,
that
would warm my heart up so much.
Is there somewhere you'd like me to start, or?
Whatever's in your spirit.
Okay. You don't say I'm pretty, not like you used to. And I never admit it. I'm trying so hard for you. But all of the moments are treasured. In the morning you won't remember. Don't know why you can keep it together long enough to try. I make big things out of little things, and I watch you keep missing them. You don't get why it's killing me every time you mess this up. Set myself on fire to keep us warm. Swear I lose my mind watching you ignore all the little things. The little things mean so much more. Yeah, they mean so much more.
Excuse me?
Thank you.
She said, I'll sing a little something for you. Come on. I can't. Stop it.
I'm with you.
It's like we're on a date now. I'm like, no, you hang up. Anyway, well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us.
Thank you so much.
Really
for
appreciate
having
it.
me.
One more time, give it up for Jess.
Guys. Thank you so much.
And make sure you stream HILDA mid-October.
Thank you.